prevent the escape of? No, no. Escape of, there is something else. It's on the surface of water. Water shouldn't be escaped from here to prevent water loss or water evaporation. Okay? Because in transpiration we try to take the one thing, means the water should evaporate only through leaves, right? So evaporation should only takes place through the leaves, not through other parts. Done. So no, I'm just telling in detail. So to prevent the evaporation from the surface of water, it is packed, or it is like protected by the layer of oil. Okay, face of, exactly, from the test tube. So so to ensure that the evaporation takes place only through the leaves. Okay, and this is related to transpiration. Okay, what is the process by which a plant loses water from cells to the atmosphere? Transpiration. What is the purpose of using the layer of oil? Water evaporation from the test tube. Okay. Question number 3 is, describe one way. Oh, wait. Is it minimized for you? Okay. There is some issue with me. It's like it's not giving me like the proper format or the. Okay. Describe one way in which a student could use this apparatus to obtain a value or for the amount of water loss. How the student would calculate the water loss. Exactly, exactly. That is the method. So we would subtract the, okay, by subtracting the initial final value or final mass, because mass is given. Gram means mass, because mass is given, final mass from the initial mass, and calculate the difference. Okay. The next question is, water is lost by stomata, so you have to give the pathway by which it reaches stomata starting from the root. Yeah. Okay, it's not given, but you can start from root. Okay, root. So roots. Okay, we can write root or we can write root here cell. So the appropriate way is to write root here cell. Okay. Oh wait. How stem? Okay, root hair cell to xylem. Okay. So in between there are cortex cells. You can write those cells as well. Both are correct. Okay, then the next cell would be palisade cells, or you can write mesophyll cells. Okay. And then on the surface of spongy mesophyll there would be evaporation. Then water move into the air spaces, right? And then from air spaces it moves out of the stomata. So the other order that can be written is xylem, spongy mesophyll, or air spaces. We can write that as well. Okay. Now a graph is given and they have asked you to tell if the humidity increases, what will happen to the water loss? Would there be more transpiration or would there be less transpiration? So the graph will move down, right? Decrease. Yes. Like this. Okay, you can make like this. Okay. explain what your graph shows about the effect of humidity. So we are saying the water loss would be less. So why do you think so? Why is why is the water loss less? Okay, okay. मुझे लगता है मेरी बैटरी जो है ना फिर बंद हो जाएगी क्योंकि ये चार्ज नहीं कर रहा. पता नहीं क्या इशू है. हो गया हो गया हो गया हो गया. डन. हाँ. सॉरी. गुड. Move out. Huh? Good, good. Excellent, excellent. So there is more saturation in the air due to which water evaporation would be less as there is more, sit here, water concentration outside. Are you done with your maths lesson? स्टार्ट होने लगा है. बैठ जाओ यहाँ पर थोड़ी देर. डांट नहीं खाओगे, मेरे पास बैठ जाओ. बायो के पा रही हूँ, बैठ जाओ. बैठ जाओ. क्लास हो रही है या नहीं हो रही? अभी नहीं आया ना, जब आएंगे तब जाना. ओके. Yes. So outside in the environment. Okay. The next question is about maltase. Now you have to tell about the activity of maltase. Okay. So maltase is a word that and it means it's an enzyme. Okay. What would be substrate of maltase? Maltose. Okay. What is glucose? Would it be substrate or what is the other? Maltase convert maltose into. Wait, it's a product. ओके. माल्टेज मीन इट्स एन एंजाइम एंड जो एंजाइम से मिलता जुलता है वही होता है उसके सबस्ट्रेट का नाम. ठीक है. सो माल्टोज कन्वर्ट हो जाता है इनटू ग्लूकोज. सो ग्लूकोज इज अ प्रोडक्ट. ओके. व्हाट इज दैट पार्ट कॉल्ड वेयर माल्टोज अटैच टू द एंजाइम? करेक्ट. ओके. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्पेसिफिक? Like we say enzymes are specific. What is the meaning? Complementary shape. Okay, that's why they are specific. They have a complementary shape to the substrate or they have the complementary shape to the enzyme. Okay. No, glucose. Okay. Another question is bats live in South America and feed on blood. Okay. They do not have maltase. Why do you think so? Why do you think so they don't have maltase? Exactly, because they're feeding on blood and the blood already contains the dissolved starch like glucose. So blood contains the dissolved glucose. That's why they don't need the breakdown of starch. So if there is no breakdown, it means maltase is not needed. No, 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 no. You have to write. You should know what is present in blood. So blood contains all the dissolved nutrients like amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol, glucose. Okay, this is in chapter number 9, transport in blood, humans, where the part of blood is given plasma. Okay, again, sir. Okay, so blood contain glucose or dissolved glucose, so no need to break down maltose. So this enzyme is absent, or moreover, so maltase would require another energy. All processes require energy, so it would waste energy if it's present. Okay, absent. Exactly. Name two parts of the central nervous system labeled A and B. What is A and what is B? No, puri cheese. Yes. And spinal cord. Okay. If you touch a sharp object, where would you represent the receptors? Where would be receptors? Where would be receptors? And where are effectors? The muscles are effectors. Okay, so it is labeled as E. Okay. The next thing is describe the role of two named neurons in the reflex arc. So in reflex arc, there are two main neurons. One is the sensory neuron and the no motor neuron. These are the more uh, important. You can write relay neuron, but you have to give the function. Okay, or relay neuron. We can write relay neuron. Okay, what is the function of sensory neuron? They bring impulses. Okay, what is the function of sensory neurons? Correct. Transmit nerve impulse from receptor to the CNS. I missed the word receptor to the CNS. Okay, and what is the function of relay neurons? You said relay neurons, let's write it. Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct. Good. Okay, and what is the function of motor neuron? Okay. Okay. Don't say signals, just say impulses or electrical signals. Okay, just don't say signals. Add the word electrical, or the better word is nerve impulse. Okay, nerve impulses to the effectors, let's say, to the effectors. Or we can write from CNS to effectors. We can write this word as well. Okay, the next question is what is gland C? Adrenal. Okay, so you have mentioned adrenal. Okay, adrenal gland release adrenaline. What is the function of that hormone? Okay, why does it increase the heart rate? Yes, correct, correct. It prepares the body for fight or flight response. Okay. Okay. So they haven't asked you about the function. They have given you the function. They have asked what is the role of increasing heart rate. Now the heart rate has increased. Why do you think so? And what is the purpose of that? Correct. To to we can say to prepare the body for increased activity. in blood. It's okay. It's perfectly all right. Now with the time as you do the papers, you would get to know how to learn it. There's no need to like worry about this. Okay? Just go through the paper and just learn these papers. Okay. Describe the meaning of the term excretion. Good. Removal of metabolic waste. No, because they haven't asked. Okay? They didn't ask, so don't give them extra information. Maybe your information is get wrong, so that will result in reduction. Okay, name the processes which produces carbon dioxide in living organism and state how it is excreted by human. What produces carbon dioxide in your body? Wait, aerobic respiration. Okay, aerobic respiration and how it is. Okay, through our through our lungs. Wait, wait. Lungs does all the work. Okay, and in lungs basically the alveoli. Basically the alveoli. आप आ जाए. ऊपर ही होंगे कहीं कैंटीन पर. हाँ, बस ये दो हैं. चौथा कौन है? रमला. अच्छा. आनिया फातिमा शाहिद. Okay. The volume of carbon dioxide excreted varies over 24-hour time. So we have different respiration at different times. Why do you think so? When do we have high concentration of carbon dioxide in us, animals, in us? When do we have it? Wait, no, whenever we exercise, right? Or we do some physical activity, at that time, whenever there is more aerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration mean we are doing something like some activity. Okay? So whenever animals do some activity, okay? For example, running, okay? So there would be more aerobic respiration, so more production of energy. Oh, carbon dioxide, sorry. So more carbon dioxide. So we suggest the activity, okay? Or oh, we haven't given the reason. The reason is to produce more energy. There would be more aerobic respiration for energy, okay? Why there is more aerobic respiration when we exercise? Because we need more energy, so that's why we are respiring more. Okay. Okay, and when do plants respire more? At night. Okay, and what would we write for this? Okay. Okay, so at night there would be only respiration in plants, because at that time there is no photosynthesis, so carbon dioxide is not used, so there would be only respiration, correct? uh, so carbon dioxide increases, while at day the carbon dioxide would be used up by photosynthesis. Yeah, used up in photosynthesis. So we have to give, exactly, we have to give the differences. Like when is the activity high and when is the activity low? Okay, okay, okay. Explain the effect of increasing concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, it's not on us, it's about our environment. So, good. Wait, no, greenhouse gases don't disrupt the ozone layer. Ozone layer is disrupted by CFCs. Okay? CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. Yes, it's a greenhouse gas. So, greenhouse gas would increase global warming. So, because of this global warming, there can be. Yes, you can write that. But then you have to give the effect of that specific thing. No, okay, we don't have to give its effect on the humans. Right, we have to focus on environment, exactly, on the atmosphere. Okay, so atmosphere said that there would be global warming, the heat would be trapped inside the earth crust, earth's surface, sorry, and there may be flooding or the melting of glaciers. You can write that. Okay, okay. A castor oil in a flowering plant which produces seed is given. Okay, this one, no, no. Okay, let's this one, castor oil one. Okay, this is not related to 16 and this is not related to 15, the reproduction in plants. Plants is related to that. Plants, haha. Okay, okay. Okay, it has an additional thing which is oil body. Okay, it has an additional, the seed has additional thing. Okay, the testa protect the seed content from the environmental damage. It's the outer covering of seed. What what are the parts of seed that are present inside the testa? Number one is cotyledon. Okay, okay. What is the function of cotyledon? Really? Okay, let's learn now. Let's learn now. It's not that much difficult. There are 4 to 5 points that you need to remember. Okay, you must have eaten peas. When you remove the cover of peas, there are two parts inside, okay, that are used as food. We eat those parts, right? So those parts are called as cotyledons. When you open up the seed, the part that store food is cotyledon. So you can write about the cotyledons. Okay, that cotyledons. Hmm, yes. Moreover, it grows into embryo, okay, which makes a new plant. Clear? Number three, from the seed, there is one thing that goes up and the other thing that goes down. The one thing which moves out is known as a plumule, and the one thing which moves down is called as radicle. Okay, so we say the radicle would form roots. R for radical, R for roots. Clear? And plumule would grow into shoot. Okay, radical, oh, my spelling is incorrect. Radical grows into root while the plumule grows into shoot. Okay, what is the difference between shoot and stem? Okay, shoot has leaves, stem with leaves is called shoot. Yes, stem with leaves is called shoot. Okay, shall we move to the next one? I guess you'll be able to learn these four parts. These are not tough. Okay, so cotyledon store food that develop into embryo, embryo develop into a new plant. Then radicle is present, which moves down and grow into root, while the plumule would move up and form a shoot or stem. Okay, what is a laboratory test for oils? Which test do we use for oil? That is called as ethanol emulsion test. Of course, for fats we use this thing only. Okay, oil can be present anywhere, would be tested with the same exactly. Correct. Okay, and then we add water. So there are two steps. Number one, first of all, add ethanol to the oil and then add water. And what would be result? Because they have asked about the result. That can be used to show. Show mean you need to give the result. So there would be emulsion, turns cloudy. Okay. Or you can say a white emulsion form. Emulsion form. Okay. This question is tricky. Okay. So there are like few graphs given for each ant. I guess these are ants. So there are five colonies of ants A to E, ant A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Ant A is taking both oil body and seed. So they are taking this both parts together. Okay. While some of the species are taking only this part. They're not taking the seed part. Clear? Okay, so they are telling the black ones are those which are taking both seed and oil body, while the white ones are those which take only oil body, the part of seed, not the whole seed. Clear? Now the question is, only a small number of flowering plant species produces seed with oil bodies. Suggest one advantage and what's disadvantage of producing seed with oil body. So advantage is that because ants are taking both things. So advantage is due to ants. Okay, clearing up a area. Okay, how does it help in producing plants? It's related to. Okay, but what if you want to focus on this plant only? Seed dispersal. No, only this. We are not talking about other species. We are not talking about other plants. We are talking about this species only. So when seed move from one place to another one, there would be seed dispersal. Ants are helping in seed dispersal. Okay, what is the disadvantage? Because it has oil body. Wait, it has additional thing, oil body. What is the disadvantage of having an oil body? Wait, to make another part, you would use more energy? जी. अच्छा, इसका नुकसान ये है कि क्योंकि आपको बता रही हूँ she has gone. Okay, so the disadvantage is that because they are producing another part, they would require more energy to make an oil body. मतलब एक सीड बनाने में तो उनको एनर्जी चाहिए ही चाहिए, एक एडिशनल चीज बनाने में भी तो एनर्जी चाहिए होगी ना. ठीक है, सो डिसएडवांटेज है मोर एनर्जी required is required to make oil body is required to make oil body. Okay, the next one, use information from the graph to explain how useful the ant species are to castor oil to the castor oil plant. Okay, what do you think, which species more helpful in seed dispersal? Species A and C are more helpful, while B and B, D, and E are less helpful. Okay, so we would write this: species A and C are more helpful in dispersing seeds while species B, D, E are less helpful. Okay, or if you want to give any value, you can give because they have set use information. So let's say 90% of the seed dispersal is done by A, and 84, 86, 85% seed dispersal is done by C. You can write those values. Okay, what are the products of digestion of oil? Fatty acids and write both. Okay, this is arthropod. Which class of arthropod is this? So there are four classes of arthropod. Which is this ant one? No, no. Okay, yes. So there are four classes: arachnids, insects, crustacean, and myropods. Arachnids have spiders, crustaceans, crabs. Wait, crabs. Myropods contain centipedes, and insects, ants. What else can be there? Butterflies, houseflies. Yes, it's written ant species. Okay, so this one is insect. Okay, what are the two features of insect which are visible over here? Which is not present in other classes, which are not, okay, we cannot see the compound eyes, which is not present in other species. She's right. Body is divided into three parts. While the arachnids have two parts, crustaceans also have two parts, and myropods have many segments. So this is the only species which contains three body segments. And what are the name of those? Head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay, what is the other difference? Hmm, antenna. Okay, if you want to write another difference, what could be this there then? Six pair of legs. Six pair of legs. Okay, so you can write three. Okay. Uh, food web is given. This question is wrong for you in the exam, by the way. Okay. How many levels are there? First of all, tell me. How many levels are there? How many levels are there? This is level 1. This is level 2. Yes. This is level 3. And this is level 4. Okay. There are four trophic levels: producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. What would be third, fifth level called? Yes. Quaternary consumers. Okay, by the way, human is on the fifth level. Look here. One, two, three, four, and fifth. Okay. So there are total five humans. Look, first is photosynthesizing plant, second is zooplankton, third one is Nile sardinus, third one is Nile perch, and last one is human. So it is on the fifth level. And fifth, Nile perch, Nile perch, and five. So humans are quaternary consumers. Okay, there are five levels. Okay, got it? अब याद रखना है इस चीज़ को आपने भी. Okay, what is a primary consumer over here? Primary consumer that are feeding on producers. Nile tilapia, prawns, and zooplanktons. Okay? Yes. So you have to write all. Or you can write one. They have asked ah. You can write one. Zooplankton can be written. Okay. Both a secondary and a tertiary consumer. Now, which is present at both levels? Secondary and tertiary. Nile perch. Okay. What is present on both levels? Nile perch. Nile perch is young one and adult one. So both are present on the secondary and the. Okay. Next one. Human eat Nile tilapia and prawns, okay, and Nile perch. So human are feeding on four: Nile tilapia, prawns, young perch, and even sardines. Okay. So use the information to state which has the least energy, which is at the highest trophic level. Which has the highest trophic level? So Nile perch. It has the highest. It has a fourth trophic level. So Nile perch is giving the least amount of energy, right? Perch provides the least energy. Why? Good. Higher trophic level means lesser energy is transferred and the energy is lost in the body processes like respiration, metabolism. So energy is used in, let's say, energy is used in different life processes. Okay? Clear? What other life processes can be there else than respiration? Movement, correct? Excretion, digestion, growth. Okay? You there? Okay. Suggest the effect of this. Okay, suggest the effect on this ecosystem if you increase the mass of. Okay, now the question is like given, which means that you have taken Nile tilapia from the lake. You have removed this from overfishing or whatever. You have removed Nile tilapia. What would be effect on the ecosystem? Okay, let's say we are removing this one. We are removing this one. What would be effect? Okay, so the eagles would what we say strive for, like they starve. Oh, thank you. American, sorry, African fish eagles would starve as there are no Nile tilapia. Okay, and what about the photosynthesizing? Okay, the population of eagle would decrease, and what would be effect on the photosynthesizing organisms? They would increase because Nile tilapia is not there to feed on them. So these would increase and eagle would decrease. So it's our 3 mark. Let's write it. So African eagle species would decrease. Why? Because they have given decrease while the photosynthesizing organisms 1151 would increase. Okay. Is there any other effect? We have written, huh? We have written that it would decrease. Okay. What else is feeding on Nile tilapia? Okay. Now humans do not have a choice of having Nile tilapia. So they must be feeding on some other species more. So they would be consuming more prawns, they would be consuming more Nile perch. Okay? So we can say that human would consume more Nile perch or prawn. Tilapia is not there. Prawns. Okay. That depends. Okay, suggest and explain in which. Okay, now due to overfishing, this one has been reduced. What can be done to sustain them, to increase their population or to small fishing nets, large fishing nets? Okay, as to catch big fish only. Okay, close seasons in breeding season to conserve, to conserve or to allow the fish to reproduce. Okay, breeding season mean reproduce. Okay, what can be the other rate? Okay, okay, that is not appropriate. What could be restricted? Restriction, uh, areas like the lakes which have the lesser population should be banned from fishing. So there should be restriction on areas. Okay, okay. What else can be there? Quota system. Quota system and restriction areas are same. Now quota system is that you can only take out 10 fish at a time. You cannot take more than 10. That is quota system. Okay. So to take out the limited amount of fish at one time that would allow the other fish to breed. Okay. Okay. Let's move to next question. Now a fish is given and it has gills. Okay. What is the similarity between a human and the fish circulatory system? Okay, a respiratory system is also given. You have to give the similarities with respiratory system as well. Wait. Both have one direction of blood flow. Okay. Both have one direction for blood flow. Okay. Okay, no. Their heart has only two chambers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They both have heart. They both have heart. Okay. Now let's talk about respiratory system. Give one similarity of the respiratory system. The respiratory system has large surface area for gas exchange. Yes, we have to give the similarity of the respiratory system. These gills are the respiratory system. No lungs are absent, but gills are here for the respiration, right? So what was I going to write? Respiratory surface has large surface area. Okay, what is the difference? Okay, human has four chambers, and this Nile Perch. No, it is. They are present. They are present. It's not shown over here, but are present. Okay, two-chambered heart. What other difference? Double and single circulation. There is single circulatory system in Nile Perch. Define single circulatory system. Okay, define it in a proper words. Once in a complete circuit or a complete cycle. The blood flows through the heart once in a complete circulation, while human have a double circulatory system. Okay, and how do we define it? In a complete. Okay, good. Okay, T system, blood passes through heart in one complete circulation. Oh, I missed the word twice. The important word. Okay. Next question. How long term active immunity develops in the human after infection by a pathogen? You have to tell the whole function of antibody till the production of memory cells. Explain. Explain. So first of all, when pathogen enters the body, it has specific antigens. Your antibody lymphocytes are going to recognize those antigens and produce complementary antibodies. Okay, are you listening? Okay. Now they would bind to the antigen and form antibody antigen complex. Clear? After this, there would be disintegration or clumping, or maybe the fragments, the leftover fragments, are eaten by the pathogens, and there some of the cells or some of the antibodies are stored as memory cells. Okay, so I guess this would cover 7 mark answer. I'm giving you the answer. Exactly. Yes. The choice is not given. That is like a new pattern. The choice is not there anymore. I hope this is well visible now. Okay. I want you to say answer one more time, and then we'll discuss the last one. Yes. Wait. Pathogens have antigens on them. Okay? Yeah, each pathogen has specific antigen. Okay? What else next? Lymphocytes recognize the antigens and produce antibodies which are complementary to antigens. Okay? They get attached and form an antibody antigen complex, and they can destroy them after clumping. Okay, or the fragments can be engulfed by phagocytes. You need to mention memory cells, okay, because it's written long term active immunity. So why long term? Because there are memory cells, so this word is very important. Okay, last one. In the group of human, there is variation in which each person immune response respond to infection. Suggest factor which can contribute to this variation. uh, okay, what else can be there? No. Then you have to define how you are saying it, like mutation. Are you talking about mutation? Okay, wait. Let's talk about you and me. We have different immune responses. Okay, why do you think so? We have different immune responses because we have different age. First thing, we have different genetics. So when we talk about DNA, we have to say genetics. Okay, so it depends on age, on the genetics. Okay, what else can be? Vaccination or vaccination, exposure. Maybe my environment is more polluted with microorganisms as compared to yours. Okay, so maybe my diet is different from yours. You are taking more vitamin C, you would have more immunity as compared to me. Okay, so Yes, vitamin C is there to activate or increases the immune responses. So we can mention diet. Okay. So there was question in a past paper that some there was a like sea voyage and the captain of the sea voyage suffered from the immune, like there was lack of immunity in that person. Why do you think so? So basically when you go on a voyage, definitely fresh fruits and vegetables are not available. So the captain was suffering from the deficiency of vitamin C, so there was less immune response or the immunity got weakened. Okay, there was one question in the past papers. Okay,